He always let himself in. That was our thing, no knocking, no texting first. Just a creak of the door and his voice echoing through the apartment like it was his own. So when I heard the soft squeal of the hinge that night, I didn't even open my eyes. I was half asleep, heavy from a day that dragged. I assumed he'd crash on the couch like he'd done 100 times before, but he didn't. The mattress dipped behind me, a familiar scent, clean soap and whatever cologne he always wore to bars cut through the fog in my brain. Then the weight of him, slow and unsure, settled over me like an accidental embrace. My breath stalled. I didn't move, couldn't. My best friend, the same guy who once said I don't care what people think, but I'm definitely straight, was now quietly pressing against me, chest to back, like he was trying to disappear inside my skin. Asterisk, his hand didn't touch mine. He didn't speak right away. The silence filled the space between us like smoke, thick, inescapable. I was wide awake now, and every second stretched impossibly long. Asterisk, he shifted slightly, head near my shoulder. Then, barely above a whisper, "Don't say anything. Just let me stay like this." Asterisk, that voice faint cracking broke something in me. I didn't say a word. My heart thundered beneath my ribs, loud enough I wondered if he could feel it. Maybe that's why he rested his forehead against the back of my neck, or maybe he just needed to breathe. I didn't ask. I didn't dare. Asterisk, I'd buried my feelings for years. I told myself he'd never feel the same. He flirted with girls, talked about dates, kissed strangers in front of me without thinking twice. And I smiled through it, every time. Because being close to him, even just as his friend, was better than losing him to truth. Asterisk, but now he was here, choosing to climb into my bed, into my silence, into the part of me I never let anyone see. Asterisk, no one else knew this version of him. No one else had ever seen him this still. This fragile. Asterisk, he didn't kiss me, didn't reach for anything more. Just stayed. A shared breath, a pressed heartbeat, a moment neither of us had the words for. Asterisk, I closed my eyes again. Not out of sleep, but surrender. And sometime before morning, I drifted into the deepest rest I'd had in months. When I woke up, he was gone. No note, no text, just the dent in the sheets where he'd been and the impossible ache in my chest where something had shifted forever. Asterisk, and I knew, even then, nothing between us would ever be the same again. Not after that night, not after him. I told myself it was a dream, that maybe I'd imagined it, him, the words, the way he fit against me like he belonged there. But the hollow curve in the sheets the next morning argued otherwise. Still, I said nothing. We didn't speak that day, or the next. I waited for a call, a text, a casual yo that would unravel the knot in my throat. But my phone stayed quiet. Asterisk, when I finally saw him again 3 days later, on a Tuesday, he was back to normal. Hoodie slung over one shoulder, a bag of takeout in hand. Making fun of my playlist like nothing had happened. Asterisk, I swear you get all your music from sad Twitter threads, he joked, mouthful of fries. Asterisk, I laughed. A short, empty sound. Asterisk, he didn't bring it up. Not the night, not the bed, not the way he held me like it meant something. So neither did I, but something had changed. The way he glanced at me when he thought I wasn't looking. How his voice, it's hesitated sometimes. Like there was a second version of him beneath the surface, one trying not to drown. Asterisk, he lingered more, stayed later. We watched movies on the couch, side by side but not touching, and I could feel the air between us vibrating, with what we weren't saying. I'd catch him watching me during the credits, eyes soft, thoughtful, but then he'd blink and pull away like it burned. The silence became unbearable. I started pulling back, less laughing, less banter. I left his messages unanswered, skipped our weekly beer runs. Every part of me wanted to be near him, but I couldn't keep pretending that night didn't carve something permanent into me. Asterisk, I needed him to say it. To acknowledge that whatever happened wasn't a glitch. Asterisk, instead, he went on like nothing was wrong. Asterisk, until one afternoon I made the mistake of dropping by his place. We always had an open door thing, but this time, I hesitated. Something told me not to walk in. I wish I'd listened. Asterisk, his voice echoed from the living room, low, flirty, too soft for strangers. Then hers. A laugh, followed by a whispered stop. Asterisk, when I stepped inside, I saw them. Asterisk, her legs tucked beneath her on his couch, one hand on his thigh, his smile easy, his posture relaxed, his hand resting casually over hers like it belonged there. Asterisk, he looked up, caught my eyes. No surprise, no guilt, just recognition. Like he expected me, but hoped I wouldn't come. Hey, he said, like everything was fine. I didn't answer, just turned around and left, quietly. Asterisk, the door clicked shut behind me, and that sound, that soft, final sound, felt like the end of something I never got the chance to begin. Asterisk, but it wasn't over, not yet. I disappeared, not in the dramatic sense, no public flouncing, no blocked numbers, no confrontations. I just stopped showing up. Stopped replying, stopped laughing at his jokes in the group chat. Asterisk, stopped being available to carry his silences. And he let me. Days bled into weeks. I thought if I waited long enough, maybe he'd reach out, say something, ask if I was okay. But silence came easier for him than truth ever did. Asterisk, I wanted to hate him. Wanted to feel something clean and sharp. Something I could name, but all I had was this thick, aching confusion. Asterisk, I kept replaying that night how careful he was. How still. The way his voice broke when he said, "Just let me stay like this." I didn't imagine that. But maybe I imagined everything else. He moved on like he always does. Like he didn't notice I was gone. His social feed was full smiling pictures with her, casual arms slung around her waist. Sunset selfies with captions like "grateful for the simple things." Asterisk, I wanted to scream, to remind him that I saw a version of him she never would, that I held his breath when he couldn't. Asterisk, but who was I to say any of that? I was just the best friend. The one who listened to him vent about exes. The one who always had a couch ready. The one who fell asleep one night with his whole world shifting under a whisper. One night, well past midnight, my phone buzzed. "Do you hate me?" Asterisk for words. Nothing else. Asterisk, I stared at them for so long the screen went dark. My thumb hovered, waiting for my heart to catch up with what it wanted to say. But I had no answer. Asterisk, did I hate him? I hated how he made me feel invisible. I hated that I missed him like this. I hated that I still replayed his breathing against my neck like it was something sacred. But no, I didn't hate him. I hated that I didn't. I locked my phone and went to the kitchen. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that gnaws on your bones. I stood there, lights off, listening to the hum of the fridge like it could distract me from myself. Asterisk, there's a grief that comes when someone doesn't choose you and worse, pretends they never almost did. Asterisk, he could have said it was a mistake, could have apologized, denied, explained. But he never did, and that made it worse, because I wasn't mourning what happened. I was mourning what almost did. Asterisk, and somewhere in that space between silence and goodbye, I started to forget what his voice sounded like when it meant something. Asterisk, but forgetting wasn't healing. Asterisk, and neither of us was done yet. He showed up at my door without warning. No call, no message. Just his knuckles rapping against the wood like the past hadn't turned to ash between us. I opened it before I could stop myself. He looked different, worn, like sleep had become a stranger. His hoodie hung loose, hair unkempt, but his eyes, they were sharp, focused, like he'd finally made the mistake of looking inward. Asterisk, can I come in? He asked. Asterisk, I stepped aside, not out of forgiveness but curiosity. I needed to know what story he'd tell this time. Asterisk, he stood in the living room, hands buried in his sleeves like he was 13 again and scared of being seen. I've been thinking, he said. For weeks. Asterisk, I didn't reply. I let the silence carry its weight. Asterisk, that night. He started, then stopped. His voice dropped. I didn't plan it. I just needed to feel something real. And you were always ... safe. Safe. Like I was a harbor. A temporary shelter for storms he couldn't name. Asterisk, he ran a hand through his hair, then looked at me fully. I never meant to hurt you. Asterisk, you did, I said, voice even, and you still are. Asterisk, he flinched. Not dramatically, just enough to show he felt it. Asterisk, she's great, he added quickly. Like guilt could be softened by compliments, but she doesn't know me like you do. And sometimes I wonder if I chose her because it was easier. That hung in the air like fog. I crossed my arms, more to steady myself than to guard. So, why are you here? Asterisk, he breathed deep, shoulders stiff. Because I can't sleep. Not really. Not since you stopped talking to me. I miss you. Asterisk, I didn't answer right away. My throat tightened. Asterisk, I've been selfish, he admitted. I wanted you close but couldn't give you what you deserved. I thought I could live with that, but I can't. Asterisk, my jaw tensed. I didn't know what I expected. Apology, closure, maybe some grand romantic confession. But all he brought was honesty, and for once it felt heavier than lies. Asterisk, I don't know who I am when it comes to you, he said. But I know I never felt more like myself than when I was with you. Asterisk, that was the moment. The one I'd waited for. Not a label, not a promise. Just the truth. Asterisk, I walked past him to the door, opened it. Asterisk, his eyes fell. So that's it. Asterisk, I met his gaze. I don't hate you, but I need someone who doesn't flinch when they love me. Asterisk, he nodded, slow and solemn. I hope one day, I'm him. Asterisk, you already were, I said. You just didn't believe it. He stepped outside and I closed the door gently behind him this time. I didn't cry. Some stories don't end in romance, some just teach you how much you're worth.